I think the last one of the last, sorry, another one is if you've commanded high salary compared to your peers in the field. You don't have to be the highest paid in the particular field, but if you're like top 30%, top 20%, then you can argue this. One of the best ways to show this is if you could get data, isolate data within your field. One of the best ways to show that is if you could get data from the the Department of Labor, and there is another one called, I'm sorry, it's escaping me right now, but I'll remember over time. And also people use things like Glassdoor. Glassdoor is great. However, the survey, the data used for that could be limited sometimes. But it's quite better for you to use government provided data. I'm not saying you can't use Glassdoor. I'm saying using government data because they have more access to information. By the time employers are running their tax documents and the likes, they report how much they pay for certain roles. So at the end of the day, government have millions of data compared to private organizations. So you want to rely on data used by the government, by Department of Labor, or I think one is called occupation something. I'm very sorry, I can't remember the exact name. Sometimes I'm really bad with names. And also the data used for H1B and and the PEM certification. That's a very good way of getting data to compare, to argue high salary compared to your peers. And also for people in businesses or arts, if you can show that you have commercial success in art or your business, or if you're applying to a business route, that could help if you can show what your actions are, if you can show that you have some form of financial models that has helped your client to make certain kind of money. You made a huge amount of money in the first quarter, second quarter compared to other trading business or other investment businesses. That could help if you're an actor, an artist, a model, and you've been able to help your agency or your employer to get lots of money and benefited yourself. That could also help to establish that you're extraordinary. The whole essence of EB1-A is that you're an extraordinary person in your field. You're not just like part of the mediocres, but you've risen to the top of the field. And I think that's why they call it the Einstein visa category. So that's a little rundown on EB1-A. Do you want to ask questions now, or do you want me to move to EB2 NIW?
Mm. It's best the questions are general after the whole presentation. So it's
Sounds
best the
good.
ask questions after the whole presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
Sounds good. All right. Um, Yep. Talking about the EB2 NIW, the first one we talked about was the first preference. This one is the second preference, which has been the reason why I've been smiling is because it has become quite tough in recent months. And I wouldn't even say a recent one. I would say for almost a year now, because the old trend started at the end of last year. So it's not even this current administration causing it. And anyways, it's the national interest waiver. And basically, it means that you're applying for this and you self-sponsoring yourself. You are self-sponsoring the teach you're applying on your own without an employer or any form of agent. And you have to be able to show that number one, first thing is you need a purpose endeavor. What do you want to do? Why? Okay, let me just backtrack. EB1 NIW is a sub part of EB2. EB2 requires an employer, which would file for your PERM. And then when you get a PERM certification from the Department of Labor, you move to file the high 140 and then proceed to adjustment of status and all that. However, the government or USI has recognized that some people's intended endeavor within the US is beyond one particular employer. So let's just give them some form of preference. So they decided to create NIW under EB2. NIW is it's an acronym for National Interest Waiver. That is, it's meant for people who have proposed endeavors that expands beyond their employers. That is, what you want to do benefit people, or it will probably benefit people beyond just the person or the company you're working for. So one of the best way for you to show that to the government is that one, you have a proposed endeavor that is of national importance or that significantly contributes to a national initiative, and your proposed endeavor is substantial enough. That's the first prong. The second prong is that you, as the applicant, you're so well positioned to advance your proposed endeavor. And the third one is that even though there is a requirement for labor certification, which is like a generic thing for EB2, the regular general EB2. However, you believe that what you want to do significantly benefits the US, that the labor certification should be waived for you and you should not have to go through the perm process. So let's just go and talk about the first prong, which is the national importance. And I think that has recently been the issue. It has continuously been one thing that leads to RFPs and denials. How do you prove national impotence? One thing I would say is that be smart about it. When I say be smart about it, let your proposed endeavor be specific. Let your proposed endeavor be measurable. Let your proposed endeavor be clear and explain your actions clearly. Let your proposed endeavor project a result that you intend to achieve. And also let your proposed endeavor have a target audience or a target sector, a target field. You cannot generalize. If it's so generic, it's not, or will be hard to pinpoint how it would be of national importance. Anyways, let's just go to national importance. One of the ways of proving national importance is that it's whatever you intend to do, your proposed endeavor would be benefiting the US in a large scale or will be contributing to a national action. I mean, when I mean action, I mean national issue which the government is already working on. Mainly, I mean national initiative. One of those ways is improving the economy, um, improving wages or working conditions for US workers. If your proposed endeavor would help to improve environmental issues that have been identified, if your proposed endeavor would be helping to advance health sciences in any form or manner, like if your proposed endeavor would be curing cancer, if it would be helping to find cure to arthritis, would be helping to help manage diabetes. Those are the forms of that. This is one of the ways of explaining improving healthcare in the United States. Also, would your proposed endeavor would they be creating any form of manner to creating affordable housing for low-income residents of the US? Would it be helping to conserve natural resources or up to better exploit natural resources in a much more environmental friendly way? Is it helping to do they contribute or help to sustain the movement for climate change? Um, are you working with a US government agency to achieve certain goals? Like, are you working with NASA? Are you working with, and is it a national health? I'm sorry, I'm so bad with names. Are you working with the defense? What's it called? The defense. I'm so sorry, I'm bad with names. the Department of Defense, are you working with some organization that is working on a novel initiative? Recently, there was a policy about AI and robotics. So, are you working in that field to help develop open source data to help improve AI and the negative impact that it could have on the users of those products? Are you doing, are you working with no, either government or private organizations using robotics to improve healthcare and health services in a way that it would be accessible to everybody across the country, not just to your employer alone? And I know this kind of seem a bit hard to explain or it's a requirement that could be a little bit challenging to meet. So you need to be very specific. That's why I said after the SMART has a specific measurable measurable goals, actions intend to take to meet those measurable goals. What are the projected results that you have in mind, and what is the target? What sector are you targeting? What markets are you targeting? That is why I use the word SMART as an acronym. Also, you need to be able to show that what you want to do is substantial. For the most part, most of the hierarchies I've seen, insubstantial has not always been the issue, but of national importance has always been the issue. And within the last 2 years, I think what qualifies as national importance has kind of fluctuated, if that is the right word in the systems right now. Okay, let's move on to well positioned. One of the best ways to show that you're well positioned is academics. What qualifications do you have in the field to make to be doing this thing that you're about to do? Okay, I'm sorry. I should have said ahead of time that one of the qualifications or requirement that you need to meet before applying for NIW is that you've got an advanced degree or a bachelor's with an extended period of years. I think it's about 5 years plus. I'm sorry, I can't remember right now, but I would think it's around 5 years plus for bachelor's. But most people usually apply with advanced degree because going through an advanced degree, either through a master's or a PhD, gives you it gives you a system where you can develop your profile more, either through writing research papers or getting involved in projects in your field or going attending competitions and the like. So yeah, so going back to the second prong, one of the best ways to show that you are good enough is that you've got the qualifications, which includes education and certification. Certifications are quite different from the education that is. You can have a master's of business, MBA, but a CPA is a license. So people need to understand the difference. Another way to show that you are well positioned is if you've got a research project going on or even a development project going on, and you have people that showed interest in what you're doing by investing in it, or you've got partners that would like to work with you on that. If you've won some form of grant or award, these are things that should be objective. That is not some form of loan from your mom or your dad or your cousin or your friend's friend. This has to be something that they are only giving it to you because they see merit in what you're doing. So that would help to show that it gives much more merit and weight to show that you're well positioned. Also, if you're going through the business route, the best one of those ways to show that you're well positioned is if you've got investors or you have potential clients that are interested in your services or your products. And if you have a business plan that shows what you intend to do, how to do it, how you intend to do it, the number of employees you intend to employ, what is the financial projection for your business, what's the profit and loss projection, what's the growth projection for the business. Those are if you can get an analyst to do that professionally, that would make you some form of could give USI some form of perceived opinion that this person seems serious about what they want to do. Yeah, I think that is one of those things you need to prove to show that you're well positioned for your proposed endeavor. The third one, which is usually the most trickiest one to argue, is that at labor certification, that the labor certification is should be waived for you in order based on what you intend to do. I know there are different arguments to this, but one of the best way that I think people should be arguing this is that irrespective of the fact that they are qualified professionals in this field within the US, you coming over to or you staying back to do this would also contribute to making to significant advancements in the field, thereby making US a leader in that particular sector. I know some people argue that they cannot find their job is so unique or they are so unique and therefore they should be getting the waiver, the labor certification waiver. I'm sorry, well, I mean, I know you're unique, but not unique enough for the perm, well, not unique enough for the perm or the certification to be waived. So best thing is
Oh, all right.
don't argue that you cannot get a labor, like that you cannot get a job offer. Don't argue that there's a shortage. I've been saying that being talked about in RFP, saying that because there's a shortage, then you want them to waive the labor certification for you. Well, they may be like they have that they are even though there's a shortage, they still want to protect their labor in that particular sector. So I think one of the best ways to argue that is that despite the fact that they are qualified people in the field, they should also they sorry, I mean your own contribution will not impede what they're already doing, but rather magnify and significantly contribute to what is already being done in the field. And that may be a better argument than saying that there's a shortage or there's an emergency or can't get a job offer and things like that. That would not really be those one may be considered as weak arguments, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for NIW, EB2 NIW. I've been seeing a trend right now of people getting denied for EB2 NIW because it has become so they've tightened up the requirements. They've raised the bar compared to the last 4 or 5 or 3 years. And that's why you get to see people getting denied, getting the NIW applications being denied, whereas they're getting the EB1-A. And let's come to think of it, NIW is what's the thing called? The processing time is taking longer than EB1-A. So that's why EB1-A is more attractive to people. And EB1-A, you don't have to show national expertise. Just need to show that you are a top performer in your field and you've risen to the top of the field, you're nationally or internationally acclaimed. Mind you, the national international does not the award doesn't have to be national or international. If it's a regional award, but that is a regional award that is internationally or nationally recognized, would suffice, in the sense that, let's say you got an award somewhere in San Francisco regarding some form of tech project, because we all know that San Francisco is like the tech capital of the world. That is where most of the technologies have been built, and the ideas were born there. So if you go any other place across the world and say, oh, you got a particular award in this, in that, while you're in tech, and it was issued by some form of organization in San Francisco, it may hold more weight, even though the organizers of the awards are not, even though it's not national or international. And also, when you say, I'm sorry, I think I've already jumped back to EB1-A now, but yeah. Also, one of those ways, sorry, one of those common things between EB2 NIW and EB1-A that could set you apart, that number one, in EB1-A, it could set you apart that you're at the top of the field. In EB2 NIW, judging which is judging the works of others, could set you apart also, that you're well positioned under the well positioned category. One thing you need to bear in mind is if you are on the panel, if your co-judges are people of high standard in that particular field, that also helps to bolster your argument that you're well positioned. Because if you're judging with the likes of, let's say, someone like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, or because he's known for business and finance and things like that. That helps to show that you are at the top of your field, and then you are well positioned to advance what you intend to do. So other than the fact that they're looking at who you're judging, they also want to look at who you're judging with, who is on that panel with you. So basically just trying to get a good understanding of your level where you are professionally. I think that's a summary of what EB1 and NIW. Is there any questions pertaining to this? Do you want us to run through the questions now, or do you want the other speaker to go ahead and speak?
Would want the other speaker to go ahead and want to proceed with the next speaker. So the Q&A will be generally for everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ma, for blessing us with your wealth of experience and wealth of knowledge as regards the EB1, EB2 NIW petition process and strategies. So now we are going to give the floor to Salt Lady to round up, to give her own insights and unique experience or unique view also into the EB1, EB2 NIW process. And after that, we'll go into the Q&A section. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, and I'm sure some people are watching from Nigeria, Ghana, and all over the world. So
Yeah,
good
better with the
afternoon.
service better.
Good morning, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. So, Barrister Temitope has actually explained the bulk of what the process is about, the technicality of it. Like, honestly, I always tell people, if you really just kind of like sit down and spend some time reading that web page, in all fairness, you will realize that it will save you a lot in understanding what the process is. And trust me, I know it's a lot of information to take in. Some people are lucky when they apply, they figure it out one time and they go through. And some people are not lucky like me, like we have to do as good, like, we beat USC and USC is also beat us back before we figured it out. But then it's a learning process. And in all fairness, I also want to say, like, for anybody who is going to like do this process, it's a beautiful process. trust me, like when you're doing it now, it's stressful. You're like, waking up in the middle of the night, having to write the criteria, and especially if you're working with a lawyer and they're asking you to submit documents, you're digging into your life to pick out things that might be relevant to the case. It will be stressful, but trust me, one day you wake up on a Saturday morning like today, and you will be like, oh my God, that was really worth it in the end. So yes, it is worth it. It just gives you that peace of mind. So I encourage everybody that is thinking about the stress, don't worry about it. Either way, the time will pass. Whether you do this or you don't do it, the time will pass. So just do it regardless. Now, we're not going into the details and repeat all what Barrister Konde has said, because yes, that's kind of like the bulk of it. But I would really like us to go into the question and answer session, because in all fairness, sometimes it is from the question and answer that we can now delve into some deeper parts of the criteria and help you know which one you would qualify for. Or yeah, we can like give specific advice that can actually help everyone. So Mr. Moderator, sir, shall I start with the one that I think somebody just asked me now? Yeah.
Yes, so let's start with the Q&A. And I noticed most people have been asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot.
Before, Mr. Konde has gone deep into the meeting. So we'll start from, okay, let's go with the Q&A. So what question, Ma, did someone ask you? Let me see if it's in
Oh
the
yeah,
chat.
so I am also on the chat and I can see the questions. So I and Barrister Konde will flow through the questions and answer. So I think number one question that a lot of people usually ask is, they apply for the application, they get an RFE, but RFE is request for evidence. So I think I always like to say this every time. Look, the number one thing that you should know about this application is that it is not a function of whether you did it right or you did it wrong, or you are not qualified or you are qualified. I'm happy that this is a Christian gathering and say really, yeah. Look, pray. Let me just, at this point, I just have to be honest with you. Your luck and your grace go a long way in this matter. It is not, you can do everything right. You can have 1,000 publications. You can have 5,000 citations. You can be the president of your country, and you may not get approved for this thing. So as much as you gather your documents and you are doing all of it, if you believe in anything, whether you believe in a table or a chair, you believe in the Almighty God, you believe in Allah, please put in prayer, put in luck, like ask for grace, ask for favor, because it just go a long way in this process. So I really need to let you know that that's very important. So if you do apply and you get a request for evidence, a request for evidence is saying that they've seen what you've explained how you meet the criteria, the one Barrister Konde explained. However, they feel that you have not explained enough, or they want more documentation from you. When that happens, that's the bad part, because it's a difficult process. You have to now start re-explaining yourself, gather more documents and the like, get more letters of recommendation from experts and all of that. Now, sometimes they may not send you the document.
Yeah.
You may not get it in your home. If that happens, or sometimes they send it by Sherlock, maybe USBI is the courier loses it in transit. You can request them, you can call them after 30 days and ask them to send you the RFE. They will send it to you via email, but you have to call them. So find a way, like you can go on the USCI's website. They have this chat bot on the stuff. You can chat with that chat bot and contact them or call them directly. It takes a long process. Like there's this act that we used to figure it out. So it's an insider thing, but like you can ask and we can share with you, like, but call them and they will send you the document via Gmail. So that's for that person that asked that question. So I see all the questions in the chat, so I'm just gonna go all the way to the first question. Hello. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry.
I'm here.
All right. So I will start with the top question. You didn't receive any email, so I think I've answered that. That's for Chibuzo. Chibuzo, I hope I've answered the question. Under which of the EB1 categories can one put speaking engagement to show expertise in one field? Yes, good question. So on the EB1-A manual, policy manual, by the way, yes, when you Google EB1, EB visa, it will show you all the EB visa pathways. But the ones that you can apply for without the need for an employer is the EB1-A or EB2 NIW. Now, under the EB1-A, they have 10 criteria, like the barrister Akode explained, and you are expected to meet 3 out of the 10. Now, one of the criteria is number 7, display of your work at artistic conferences. If you are not an artist, you are a scientist, you are a communication professional like myself, you worked in the business field, you're a lawyer, you are not an artist, but you have been specially invited to present your work at a conference or as a keynote speaker at a big event, a national event or something like that, you can claim that presentation under display of your work at artistic conference. However, you cannot claim it with your full chest like that because it is not an artistic presentation. USCIS is so kind that they created another criteria. It is called comparable evidence. I will say comparable evidence is like they gave you a blank check. With that comparable evidence, you can now claim that display of your work at that conference as comparable evidence of display of your work at a conference. So that way, you meet the criteria. You can use that to meet that criteria. Please don't claim display of your work. Don't claim criteria 7 for presentation of your work because it is not an artistic conference and they will say it does not meet the criteria. However, if you go under the umbrella, the covering of comparable evidence of display of your work, it counts. And this applies to all the other 10 criteria as well, including award, membership, authorship, whatever. You can claim comparable evidence for them. They have explained what qualifies for comparable evidence in the policy manual. A lot of people overlook comparable evidence a lot, but if you really know how to argue well for it, you can claim a seemingly not qualified criteria that, like, for instance, you're not an artist, but you have presented your work and you want to like claim it. Yes, you can actually claim it as comparable evidence. So the next question is how to go from H1B to green card, right? That's the question. Well, H1B, let's not go into H1B. Well, if you want to go from H1B to green card, you have to apply for EB1-A or EB2. It's that simple. Or maybe you go to the family marriage route. So that's it.
They can also keep 100K in case. 100K.
Exactly. As per young money cash that we are. So Me, I don't have that money. Please, if you have that money, come and bless my life. The Lord wants to use you to bless us. So please come and bless us. Anyway, we're receiving benefits from my child who was not born in the US affect my EB1 EB2 petition. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. Well, I will not call the name, but you know the person I am referring to, the regime we are under. In the past, it was not a problem. And it's still not a problem as of today. It's not wrong for you to get benefits for your child because according to the law, a child is a child. The child lives under the umbrella of America. America takes care of children. Yeah. Of course, they even take refugees, people that are running from bad governments from their country. They care for them. America is that heaven, that safe place for people from all over the world. So yes, if your child is on the shores of America and apply for some of these benefits and they qualify for it, why not? They should get it. But I'm not like to you under this our oga, our oga at the top. If it is avoidable, please avoid it. If you can do without it, please do without it. During his first term, people used to get all these SNAP benefits and all of that. One day he woke up and he decided that, it was a problem, blah, blah, and it became an issue. It became an issue for people, right? And many people that were getting it then, because I remember then I was in Texas and a lot of people were like, if we knew, like, what did they even use the money to buy? Some they use it to buy sneakers, t-shirts, clothes. Like, was it now worth them going through the suffering when they were now wanted to apply for their adjustment of status? Was it really worth it? So, but as of today, if you get this benefit, it's not wrong. But because we don't know our guy at the top can wake up tomorrow morning and decide that he does not like how your children are getting the benefit and may change his mind. So if it is, I always say if it's avoidable, don't get it. But if it is health related, or for instance, or you have a baby, the baby needs to take baby food and all that, my dear, collect it. It's your father's right. That's why you are in this country. So that's it. The next question I'll leave to Barrister Akonde to answer. So I'm not doing all the talking. I think it's the same question with SNAP benefit as well. SNAP benefits for US citizen child. Yes. If you're an immigrant, of course, when you apply for it, they will even write it there that you must have qualified for it. That is why they are giving you, right? But in all fairness, if you can afford, me, I don't touch their stuff. I didn't touch their stuff when I had not gotten my papers. I make sure that I don't go near things that are for US citizens. Yeah, rather go to 99-cent store, Dollar Tree, than go get their stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the next question is, I am a member of the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science. To be a member, you have to sit for an exam, and afterwards inducted into the association. Can this serve as evidence of membership in a field that demand exceptional performance? Yeah, you could. You could add it to. You could argue it under the membership association criteria. One of the things you need to show is the requirements to join this association. It could help to show that you were not just a member because you paid some form of due or because it was mandatory of you, but because you were exceptional in your field and you've got the required knowledge, training, expertise, skill set, technical know-how, and that was how you were able. If you can show that, then it could also, you probably also want to pursue joining that kind of membership within the US as well, because you just want to build your profile to look so good. I hope that answers your question. The next one is, I am in the academic field. However, I have played critical and leadership roles in an FMCG. I'm sorry, I don't know what FMCG is. What does it mean? Well, if it relates to your field, and if it relates to yeah, basically if it relates to your field and if that organization is regarded as a top organization in your field, not just some organization that nobody knows about. And if you can show that the people that serve on the board of that organization or serve in the director level are top people that are leaders in the field, then you being a part of that organization and playing a critical leadership role there would help to support. I'll not say it definitely shows that you're top of your field. I'll just say it helps to contribute to arguing that you support to support your assertion that you are a leader in your field. Probably, depending. I don't know what the organization is about, and I don't know if it relates to what you do. So we'd have to find out. Under which EB1-A category can I include fellowship? For goodness sake, this is quite straightforward. It's going to be membership association. And you need to be able to show what a fellowship it's about. Does it relate to your field? And what is the caliber of people that receive or that joins that fellowship? And how relevant is that fellowship in your field? Basically, I just want to know that if it's high level people in your area that use that fellowship, then that would help to show that you're top of your field and you're a member of one of the organizations that consider a reputable field. Can textbook publishing stand as original contribution? So, sorry, I think I missed it. Can textbook publishing stand as original contributions to an individual's field? Is that everything? I'm sorry, like every time I try to scroll up and down, it just kind of disappears. But textbook should be on the publication, and depending on what the content of your contribution to that textbook on, did you write a chapter in it or did you write your textbook? Also, is a textbook, where's the textbook being used? Is it adopted by higher educational institutions to teach certain courses in your field? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. And as your content, the content you contributed to it, is it innovative? Is it original contribution? I hope you're not just citing what other people have done. Or the thing is, are you doing something? Have you written something novel about a particular thing? Or have you written something novel about the way to do an existing procedure or process? So those are the questions you really need to answer. Those are the things you need to look into if you want to determine. But definitely, a textbook could be a publication of some sort, or like speaking also could be a form of publication as well. I mean, under the law, speaking is a form of publication. So textbook or speaking engagement may serve as some form of scholastic, scholars publication and all that. How can I prove original contribution to my field? I think pretty much answered that in the last question. Do you have a patent? Have you made recommendations on how to improve certain things? Have you been able to help to provide solutions to an industry challenge, to an industry issue? Have you undertaken or carried out an applied research? Because I'm not in science, but I know I know in science you have research and development, and under research you have, I'm not sure, but just please bear with me. I think there's regular research and there's applied research. Regular research, we're just doing this research because we want to do it and out of curiosity or for the purpose of science and to understand something. But applied research should be about, there is a problem and we're trying to conduct a research around how to resolve this. And if you are able to find find a solution to one of those problems, that's in a way is a way to show that you've contributed, you made an original contribution to your field. If you're not paying for premium processing, how long does the normal process take? I think it's been answered already.
The cost if you wish to.
I answered that one based on
Yeah, I
little
think so.
knowledge about it. I hope I'm correct.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like this question, you could easily find an answer to it on the website. So,
Yeah.
and by the way, you are obviously correct. Does organizing a workshop for a national conference meet the criteria of an EB1-A? Organizing, I think it's about what you did during the national conference, where you invited to speak, and or what were you talking about? Were you making some form of presentation about recent development or recent results of some applied research you've conducted? But if you're just organizing, I'm not sure that's going to be an objective evidence that would strengthen your application if you're just organizing. But if you're there as an expert in the field to either exhibit certain things that you guys have recently done. And also, one of the things that you also need to bear in mind regarding EB1-A is continuous, sustained and continuous practice of that profession. If you've done all those marvelous things about 20 years ago, it's hard for you to explain that you've sustained and you have a continuous practice of that. So it needs to be something that you've been doing all this while and you're still doing right now. Is there a way to present student competition awards as one of the criteria? Well, as a student, if you receive some award, yeah, that could help. Like I said, excuse me, sorry. Like I said, who is giving the award? What is the eligibility criteria for the award? How did they select you guys? What made you stand out for that award? Who decided or who presided, who judged the process of issuing the award? So you may want to reflect on that. If they are reputable in your field, then you could put it in. But if it's not, I'm not sure about that. For recommendation letters, I don't think they are meant to be sealed. At least for the ones I have done, none of them were sealed. The only thing that was sealed was the medicals. Those are the ones where like required to be sealed. But your recommendation, as a matter of fact, your recommendation letter shouldn't be sealed because one of the way high drafts is that thank you for bringing it up. During my presentation, I didn't mention recommendation. That skipped my mind because I was just doing it right from my head. So sorry about that. But one of the ways to show that you're well positioned is recommendation later. And also for your EB1-A, one of the ways to show that you're an expert is when other people can speak to the value and the integrity of what you do. And one of the ways to help with your petition drafting, I'm telling you how I draft. If you see any significant thing in in the recommendation letter that be a good argument for any of those criteria you are arguing, you could just make reference to it in the body of your petition letter. So of course, if it's sealed, you would not say that. So you don't have to sell it. Let me just put it that way.
Okay, so let me interject here and also take the button. Okay. Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Oh,
we can
okay,
hear you,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Hear you.
All right, thank you. So, yes, thank you so much, Barrister Conde, for that. There's a lot of questions. We'll try as much as possible to flow through faster. When adjusting status, how many years of tax document is usually required? So first and foremost, is your tax document required in the adjustment of status? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. It's number one, as of today, it is not a compulsory requirement in your adjustment of status. The law does not require you compulsorily to add it. However, if you add it, is good, right? So now the question of how many years of tax document is usually required, see, that question is almost unanswerable. However, it's safer when you had your tax document. It's good. You have been transparent and all of that, so it's good. But is it a law? Is it a required thing by law? As of today, it is not yet a required thing by law. There are discussions currently with USCIS and IRS to become one. Like USCIS wants IRS to send immigrants tax records, do that. Like they're trying to sign a memorandum of understanding between both departments. But as of today, that law has not been in effect. So, Barrister Kode, am I right? Yeah, so since that law is not yet in effect, it is not a requirement. If you ask me, I will say you are doing over sabi by putting your tax document there, especially if you are a culprit. We know what we mean.
I'm sorry to interject. Except if you are applying for H1B,
Yes.
others employer-sponsored one, you may be
Mhm.
required to put that in just so to show that you have been in lawful employment of this employer. So
Yeah.
that helps, maybe.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
self-sponsored, not exactly required.
Yeah. So that's just it. There are things we cannot say on the, but don't go and do over sabi, especially underline if you are a cool prit. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. What should a management student not focus on research, focus on among the criteria in an EB2 NIW application? So a lot of people have asked this question, that is it compulsory that I have research papers or citation when I'm doing my EB1-A, EB2 NIW application? Truth of the matter is that the EB2 NIW and even the EB1-A, it's not only people that are researchers that get approved for it, especially if you are not even in the academia field at all, like somebody that is a management person that is not focused on research. So your question on what criteria should a management student not focus on research, focus on among the criteria in an EB2 NIW application? You will focus on all the criteria. There are 3 prongs in the application. You must answer all the 3 prongs. So if your proposed endeavor is not research focused, then do not talk about research. Focus on it. Say, for instance, if you are developing a framework, or you are, for those that are doing business, maybe you want to create a business, a solutions for small and medium scale enterprises in America, although I don't like to use that idea of cast, but people still get approved. Like I said, it's still your luck and your grace anyway. So if you are focused on maybe small and medium scale businesses, you are designing an AI app or something to help solve that problem, and it is not research focused, why should you your work should not talk about research or papers and publications? And yes, people get approved for EB1-A, EB1-A and EB2 without research, without any papers and citation. If your work is not research and you argue for your case well, you can get an approval. It's just these days things are very tricky, so it is what it is. A little bit tricky these days, so it is what it is. And finally, does thesis published in the university database count as original scholarly research, or does the thesis have to be published in a journal to meet criteria 6? So I've seen RFEs from people who have used this. Some officers accept it, some officers don't accept it. Some officers will say that the thesis published on the university database is not published on a peer review, whatever, so it does not count. However, in all fairness, if we look at the definition of scholarly published work, especially if your university is a R1 or R2 university, it should count, because the university, where else is a better place to actually publish your work, where academicians and students and researchers can actually see it, not on the university database, so many people, I know people that have used it, that it has worked for them, and I have actually seen a reference from an officer that says that he does not approve that it does not count because it was not a peer review. By the way, for every thesis, you have a committee. So it is peer reviewed. At least 4 people will be on your committee that reviewed your thesis before it is approved. And the university, most of the time, will require you to even do IRB certification. You have to get license. You have to, if it's an American, especially if it's an American university that you finish from. So I think it meets that criteria.
Sorry.
But yeah,
Sorry to interject. I was just going to say that regarding theses or research publications and the likes, try to keep documentations of the peer review. While you're going through a peer review process, each individual would have some form of feedback or comment to make regarding
emails.
So try to keep that. That helps. Try to document it, print it, and attach it as some form of evidence to the actual paper, to actual publication itself, because it helps to verify that one went through a peer review process, and also helps to increase the weight given to that evidence.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's very true. So fast-moving consumer goods, I don't know what that meant. Please, when I was answering the other question, I remembered something. When I was answering the question on what criteria should a management student not focus on research, blah blah blah, focus as a criteria under the EB2 NIW application. I just wanted to mention about for EB1-A. So if you're applying for EB1-A and in your application, I want to please say, I don't know if I can share my screen. I will prepare for that when I come up next. Please, when you are submitting your application, please don't use the word proposed endeavor, national importance, substantial merit, well-positioned, waiver, blah, blah, blah. Don't use EB2 terminology in EB1-A application. I know that most of us are self-petitioning. When you are self-petitioning, try not to, don't mix the words together. I'm saying this because these days I see people will contact me. Hello, sort lady, I got an RFE, I got an NOID, the officer raised so and so matter. Most of the time, the matters the officers raise, the officers are not wrong, because some people write their EB1-A application like an EB2 NIW application. You use terminologies like substantial merit and national importance. No, in EB1-A, it is not about the substantial merit and national importance of your work. It is rather about the substantial benefit, underline substantial benefit, and how the work will impact how the work will impact America in the future. So please don't use terminologies that are for EB2 and EB1-A. It will save you stress. And I'm saying this because when the officer starts reviewing your case, if he already has a bias in his mind about your work, it goes with that bias in his mind, and that is what he used to review your case all through. And you don't want to be at that other end. So let me answer one. I see my Sakode is muted. So let me answer one more. Please, is a press release by your university about your work considered a media publication? This question. Okay, well, it's objective. I would say it's subjective. If your university is R1, R2, you can say, and especially if it is something that is related to like your university, not that you want a scholarship, not that you want, like if it's a scholarship that they are talking about, but maybe I remember I know a student had contacted me one time. He developed this technology that helps to test drugs, and it was bought by one company, and then the university wrote about it. Now that's a beautiful invention that the university spoke about, and that's good. You can argue for it because on the criteria they said publish material about you in a professional or trade or other major media. Look, those words are, English language is very, very clear, but sometimes we kind of like mix it together. They said professional, trade, or other major media. When you're arguing for your media, be specific on which kind of published material it is. Is it published in a professional media, or published in a trade union media, or published in other major media? And define what it is. For instance, the university, if your work is maybe you are a member of Nigerian Medical Association or something, maybe that's too vague. Say you are a business person, and then you publish your work in a Business Day or like Forbes magazine, right? That is more of like, it's a niche media. It's for a specific kind of audience that listen or that read that kind of media. Or maybe your work is published in Psychology Today, right? That's one of like a newsletter for psychologists all over America. It's kind of a big one, right? Now, if your work is published in like, say, Association of Engineers, something like that for America, like maybe IEEE or something. So explain what your media is about: professional, trade, or other major media. And that other major media, be clear about it, because people will just write professional, trade, blah, blah, blah. Is it professional? Is it trade? Is it other major media? Be clear about it. The membership of my field is in stages. I'm currently a probationary member. I just passed stage 1 of 3. Can I use it to support my argument? I will be honest with you. I have seen some situations whereby some people, when they are writing their petition, they will say they are claiming a criteria. For instance, now, they might have 3 membership. They will use 2 membership that they are officially, like maybe they are full fellows and stuff. They will use it in the criteria. Then they will now come to final merit determination and add a completely incorrect, like that the criteria, this membership did not meet the criteria. You will now add it in final merit determination and you will spoil the soup. Why? Marker, why? Final merit determination is not a separate part of your application. Your application is taken in its totality. And if you go into the final merit determination, I don't see how I can share my screen here. I would have shared the policy manual so you can see it. In the final merit determination,
you can share your screen, ma. We made you a co-host.
You can share your screen.
Oh, okay, I can share my screen. Let me see. Let me open the page then. Okay, you know what? I will not forget to come back to you so that we can, because I have many tabs open on my computer. So I will share it in my next screen on this. So to just round up on that question, the membership of your field is in stages E. Should you have this argument? If you are not a member in that association that meets ESI's criteria, I think that you should not add it. However, you can add it, and the angels that guide you and support you can make it go through. But should you add what you have not attained? Because EB1-A is saying you are presenting things that you have attained, not things that you are working towards. Things that you have attained, that you are already an extraordinary person. So that's it. So Barrister Fola can take off from here. I will open my screen so that I will share with you and show you the final merit part next time.
Hi, just to piggyback on what she said, I was going to say, you are actually, I understand the fact that you're taking effort, you're making effort to improve your profile, but you should be very strategic about it. If you want to need people that are accomplished in, they need to show that you're quite accomplished in your field, not that you're still in the process of getting accomplished. So you should ask yourself, do you want to put that in right now, or do you want to wait to have a solid application, to have a solid profile before you actually submit it in? I get the fact that you want to use that membership of reputable association in your field criteria. So you need to weigh out the options. I don't know how long it's going to take for you to get to stage 3, but if it's not going to take long and you feel like you have the time to wait to get to stage 3 and you believe this association is going to be supportive to your argument, another one of those criteria listed, you should probably give it a deep thought, think about it very well. And yeah, even if you were applying for EB2 NIW, this is something you also really want to think about well, because something I've noticed about EB2 NIW is that if you've had certain supporting evidence before you filed, if you then include it in, if they send you an RFE and then you include it in your RFE, it could hold weight. However, if it's something you just attained after the date of the RFE, it will be considered as an afterthought and would not be given strong evidentiary weight. So those are the factors you really, really need to take your time to consider. Think about it very well. At the end of the whole day, it's all strategic. You have to be strategic about the evidences you include in your application. I believe the next question is honorable fellowship okay for membership criteria for EB1? And if Chartered Institute Bank and Postme in their Lagos monthly journals, can I also use that for any criterion? Good question. What's the requirement, or what's the eligibility criteria for honorable membership? To my own limited understanding, honorable means we're just giving you this thing because not that you've gone through the whole vetting process to be a fellow, but maybe because you don't know or something. I could be wrong. Please correct me. However, if being an honorable fellow in that association is something that indicates that you're a professional, you are an established, acclaimed professional in the field, then you could consider it as a strong, as supporting evidence. Like, I think, is it the CFR in Nigeria or AFR, the Order of the Niger? So that is an honorable award. However, it holds weight. It's highly regarded. So I don't know what the honorable fellowship is. I don't know. At the end of the day, they're all quite fact specific. Depends on what you can prove, what you can argue, what you can show. At the end of the day, if you cannot argue something and show documentary evidence to support your assertion about how you meet a particular criterion, then you're not really doing yourself a favor. So at the end of the day, consider is the honorable fellowship based on merit? That's just a summary of all I'm trying to say. Can publications and peer reviews in faculty journals count as worthy evidence? At the same time, it's fact specific. Faculty journal, what faculty is it? I would assume you mean your college. What's the rating of your school? I mean, no disrespect to you. What's the rating of that faculty journal? How highly regarded is it? You know, there are journals and there are journals, like let's say in Nigeria, like there are levels to these things. And of course, the reason why I'm saying this is because the recent trend has proved that USCIS is looking for quality, not quantity. you can meet several of these criteria. You can meet all the criteria if your supporting evidence are not objective enough, they are not strong enough, if they are from organizations that are not highly reputable in your field, then you've not fulfilled the burden of proof of showing that you are one of the acclaimed, highly esteemed professionals in your field. So if it is a faculty journal that is highly regarded in the field, yes. Even if it is even mid-tier, okay, great. You have the employer to sponsor you for green card H1B, under which category this one. Sorry, no. H1B is different from EB category. For EB categories, you use I-144, H1B is I-129. I'm bad with numbers. That's very good sciences. Yeah, they're quite different. EB categories are mostly of immigrants intake, but H1B is dual intake, that is either you're non-immigrant or you are considering immigrants intake. So H1B is different from EB1, sorry, EB categories. That's all I'm just trying to say. And they have different eligibility criteria. So must the population be for expert or can case applications count? Well, this is fact specific. Publications should be there should be, oh my God, there should be for experts in your field. I mean, there should be reputable publications in your field. Kids publication, I really don't understand. I would assume we're talking about being a teacher or somebody in education that provides that develops content or curriculum for kids. That's a different, if you can, the issue now is for teachers. Before it used to be hard over time. So it used to be hard to like show your work adopted across the country, and your products, your works are being used to teach kids in schools, then maybe you could have something to say about that. Well, at the end of the day, it's all fact specific on what you can do. Under what category does internship experience with? Thank you for asking this, because I think I was supposed to like just briefly talk about it. Internship for EB1-A, that is quite tricky in the sense that you're looking for experts that are accomplished in the field. You're an expert in the field, you're accomplished in the field. Why are you still an intern? If you were an intern a couple of years ago, I'll get that. But currently, if you're an intern, then you probably want to question why you're an intern as an expert, number one. Two, you want to question, you need to be able to show how were you working to show that you contributed a substantial benefit to the field. And as an intern, I'm making original contributions. At the end of the day, being an intern does not, let me just put it this way, EB1 is all about putting your best foot forward. Even if it's an NIW, you put your best foot forward. Being an intern does not help to show that. As a matter of fact, even being an analyst is good, but that doesn't show. Being an analyst doesn't show that you're an expert. Shows analyst, intern, they're all like entry level roles, right? So
you are breaking, ma. You are breaking.
I'm sorry.
You are breaking, ma. You are breaking. You are breaking.
Yeah, I think it's the network from my end. I don't know. Maybe it's. Am I also breaking, sir?
No, ma. You are clear. Yours is clear, but Mr. Conde's network is breaking.
Okay, I think it's the network. Yeah, and I'll take over from. I thought that it was my side that the network was bad. So. Yeah. She's muted now. Okay, let me continue while we wait for her to return. Okay, about internships. Just like she said, it's more of like things have changed a lot. Things that they used to overlook in the past, they don't overlook it anymore. So yeah, I don't think I would put internship, especially, but there's a way. Okay, so in the policy manual, so I'll just go on and share my screen now. Can we see my screen? No, I think
No,
no.
no, we can't say.
No, we can't see it.
How about now?
It started
It's
sharing.
loading.
It's loading.
Loading.
Okay, it says I'm screen sharing. So it's
Yeah,
sharing now.
but it hasn't showed yet, but it's still loading. It has shown. It has shown.
Okay,
Has
so
shown.
these are the 10 criteria for the EB1-A for applicants. And then many people read these 10 criteria and they run with it. No, please click this link that explains for more information on extraordinary ability. Read our policy in volume 6, chapter whatever. So click that link, and this is your Bible. You know the way the Bible says, this book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night. Hey, you will meditate on this policy manual day and night. Yes, let this be bookmarked on your computer if you are applying for the EB1-A, and be careful enough to do everything that is written in it so that you will make your way prosperous and have good success, like the Bible says. So that you will make your application prosperous, you will also have to meditate on this policy manual day and night. Now, the eligibility criteria, like she was explaining, please go back and read all of this. But the part I wanted to show you is this. If you are an early career professional, the fact that you are just starting in your career does not mean that you don't qualify for the EB1-A. If you see on the manual, on the page, it says a beneficiary may be very young or early in his career and be able to show sustained acclaim. You understand? So for your internship, and there is no age limit as well. So for your internship, if for instance, when you were doing the internship, you actually did something that was very critical, like you did something really massive, it might, count for you. But I would advise you that you should not really, don't coin it as internship, okay? You did it in a job. The emphasis should be on the critical role and not on the, don't give too much reference to the internshipness of the position. You understand? Then back to the question. So I will quickly flow through because I'm sure that this meeting is not going to be, it's not going to be forever. So I will run through the questions. Can leadership in voluntary organizations such as Rotary Club count for one? It's subjective. I think it's a subjective option. I've seen people that have used it. So there is this document on people that they have denied in the past and cases, the precedent decisions. And when you look through the precedent decisions, you will see that sometimes they actually don't approve such non-governmental organization positions, like for leadership. But you may use it might work for you. It is what it is. What kind of newspaper publication counts? Is it an article publication by you or a publication about you? Sad, ma, please. It must be publication about you. When you submit media for EB1-A, please make sure that the media has an author. For instance, the media is about me, Toyosi, right? Make sure that the media has a author, Favor Akonde, and it must have a date of publication. And when you are printing the evidence, make sure that the URL show on the printed document, like at the top edge or at the end, at the edge of the paper. So when you are printing your paper, don't go and over because you want to make it skinny, you know. Make sure that the URL show on it. While you put the URL in the document, in the evidence letter also, make sure that the URL show, because some officers may say they do not see the, you know, the link, right? Although they don't usually go and read it, but just make sure that when you are printing the document, the URL shows there is a name of the author, and it must not be you that is the author of that newspaper story. Then what kind of newspaper publication count? I would advise that you should use top newspaper publishing houses. If you're in the US, for example, try and go for top newspapers like, say, Business Day, Business Times. There are some small ones like Digital Journal, Tech Bullion, like they have like a large readership. Those ones can count as well. If you are in, say, Ghana, you can use like Ghana Web, My Joy Online. If you're a Nigerian, you know, newspapers like Punch newspaper, they are very good. A lot of people overlook TV interviews. TV interviews are also very, very good. You know, especially these days that most TV houses like channels, TVC, CNN, you know, Fox News, all of them are on YouTube. So if you have ever been interviewed on your, if you have ever been interviewed on the topic that you are, you know, presenting to the USCIS, it's not, let me say this, some people, they have invited you to come and speak on, say, they wanted to talk about political commentary on whether you like the current government or so. However, what you are proposing to do is you are finding a solution to cancer. You cannot present that commentary on political whatever as an evidence of media about you. There is no correlation with it. If the media must be about the topic you are presenting for extraordinary ability. So please, let's put that in mind. And let me move on faster. How old do your awards have to be? Right? How old do your awards have to be when filing? I don't understand that question. Like I've already put there, if you say you are at the top of your career, right, and you are extraordinary, you should have, you know, enjoyed sustained acclaim. But like they put in this on the policy manual, as you can see, there is also, please look at what I am highlighting. They said there is no definitive time frame on what constitutes sustained acclaim. I don't know how to minimize this meeting thing. Let me see. Can we still see my screen?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. This thing is not working. Anyway, I'm trying to minimize the camera thing that is showing on small edge. Voila for technology. Anyway, you get the idea of what I'm saying. So there is no definitive time frame on what constitutes sustained acclaim, but it's better. It's not that you just wake up in 2025. All your criteria is in 2025. You award 2025 membership, published material, judge of everything that you are doing is 2025, that you achieve everything. It's not nice. It's not nice. So try and, you know, spread it across. So for instance, you know, it can even take you a year, 2 years to build a profile, right? But then if you're already an extraordinary person, it's good for you. So for some people now, they've been working towards their profile from January. You know, what is your own is your own. Your river will not flow past you. Wait till January 2026 before you submit, so that everything that you have done will not show 2025, 2025, everything 2025, 25. So spread across the years.
A half mile. Take exit 35 toward historic Shelbyville.
Next question. I hope I'm moving fast. Does admission into a PhD in the United States count? No. For EB1-A, no. For EB2 NIW is subjective. Because
exit 35.
Under what criteria would you claim that for? Anyway, Then if you receive funding, what category can having a registered company in US that has received about $5,000 in funding fall? Well, so there is a criteria 9. It says if you have received high salary or high remuneration for your service. So I will say this: if you are using that one, this $5,000 funding to claim award, I don't know, it's subjective. Okay, for instance, they told me a Lumelu award for people that are Nigerians. They know about this huge competition. They give $5,000 funding to them to create a business or create a school or stuff like that. Now that one is different, right? Because you have done something extraordinary. You are building a business, a brand. That's why they give you that $5,000, right? That's different. But if you are for a registered company, but in this case, this person is confusing us. They said, if you have registered a company in the US that has received about $5,000 in funding fall. When I hear fall means school, right? That's this current school session, like the fall session. So that's why I don't want to be very, very forward in that answer. If it is school scholarship, these days they don't accept school scholarship that much, but so they still are, some people still apply and they get approved. So we don't know what is going on in that office. So I cannot say with my full shares that it does not work, because everybody's luck is different. However, for many people that use scholarship, they don't work. They give you RFE and they don't accept that criteria. They don't accept it. I have a bachelor's in health economics and I'm completing my master's in health policy in December. I just got admitted into the nursing program. Which of the EBs can I apply for? I would say go and read the policy, the manual that we have shared with you here. Read the manual. Which one do you qualify for? Which criteria do you meet? That is what determines what you should apply for. Let me also say that for EB1-A, your education is not a compulsory requirement. So you can actually be somebody that I have never seen the 4 walls of a university, 4 walls of a primary school before and get approved. Yes. It is not based on your education. It is based on, are you extraordinary? For instance, now, somebody that won an Oscar, do you need an education? If you're an actor and you won an Oscar, you are extraordinary, right? If you are an artist and you know you have made so many box office movies, if you are an artist that maybe do artwork and stuff, if you are a dancer, if you are a say a top speaker or something. So your education is actually, there is no, see, let me just go to the policy. This is the EB1-A policy manual. There is no part of the requirement that is education, that requires your education. So your education is part of your evidences to show that truly you are an extraordinary person. So I hear many people say, oh, I need to finish my PhD before I apply for EB1-A, or I must have a master's degree, or I must. No, it is not a must. But if you have a master's degree, does it increase your chances? Capital letter YES. If you have a PhD, does it double increase your chances? Capital letter double YES times 1,000. But is it a compulsory requirement? No, it is not a compulsory requirement. And please, before I move on, I wanted to show you what I was still saying about the final merit determination, because this is the hard part of this application. The hardest part of this application is not you meeting that 3 criteria. The hardest part of this application is you meeting the final merit determination, because you can meet 10 criteria and still get denied if you do not meet final merit determination. What is final merit determination? I'll start with Yoruba. Ní àkójọpọ̀, like in English, it means in summary, collectively, when we look at a compendium of your life, are you an extraordinary person? Question mark. They will now put your life on a scale. They call it a preponderance of evidence. For some officer, their preponderance might be that if you meet 50 over 50, you meet the criteria. They are okay. Some people might say if you meet 30/70, they are good. Some might say if you meet 90/10, it's good. Everybody have different bias in their mind. And an officer is a human being. He has his different opinion and thoughts about everything. And he is the Lord and Master of your application. So I would say that for you applying for EB1-A, as you work towards meeting the criteria, the 10 criteria, if you want to pick 4 or 5 or 6, when you are done with that criteria, please, sir, dear ma, come down and sit down on the final merit determination. Do an analysis of everything that you have submitted. In summary of it all, do you think that you have met the requirement for extraordinary ability? That is what this final merit determination judges. That is the scale with which they judge it. And like I said, some people will say, oh, I use, maybe they are a member of 5 Kappa Delta or Kappa Gamma Delta, all those things. And then they know it does not meet the USCIS EB1-A criteria. Then they will come and say, well, since it is a distinguished organization and blah, 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 I will put it in my final merit determination. Please, I want you to, all of us can read English language, right? Please read what you can see in this part. The officers, oh, this thing will not allow me to read, see what is in that, is covering it. The officers consider all evidence in totality. Everything you submitted is considered. No part of it is left out. So when you say, I did not use this criteria for my main criteria, I only use it in final merit determination, they will come and wait for you here and issue you a notice of intent to deny. A notice of intent to deny is a 30 days RFE. Is the senior brother, the grandmaster of RFE. They give you 30 days to show them more evidence for why you meet the EB1-A or you don't meet the EB1-A requirement. So when you are submitting your 3 qualifying criteria, please make sure that you are not adding things that will cause you to get an NOID letter. The officer will consider everything you submit in totality. So please watch out for that. I will only answer 2 more questions. I think I will be done. It's almost 2 p.m. I think we have done. I have tried, so I have to go. It's a busy day for me, but I'll just chip in 2 more. I know Barrister Konde also. She has to go too, but let me go. Okay. AI, using AI. Can you use AI like ChatGPT to write your petition more explicitly? AI is supposed to be an assistant, so you can use AI to put your thoughts together more clearly. However, please edit what AI writes for you. Let it be real. Don't let it be mechanical, okay? I think that would be better. I'm a 3rd-year grad student. Oh my God, this thing is moving so fast. You are a grad student, you got travel grant. Please, like I said, if your strength of your application is based on scholarship, the fact that you have a PhD admission with full funding, it's actually not a requirement. It does not meet the criteria for the EB1-A because every year they admit people anyway, so it is what it is. I have a PhD in 2023. I'm currently not employed. For the petition, do I talk about what I have done? And how do I combine it with what I plan to do? This is your question. So there are some of us that actually have to book a consultation and sit down with a professional lawyer like Barrister Konde or a specialist like myself and actually figure out whether you qualify for this thing or not. And then you can also sit down with your friend and kind of webinars like this, and maybe we can help. But this your question is too vague to be answered in this meeting. We spend like almost 15 minutes to figure this out because there is a lot that is packed in your question. What you plan, okay. I think some people have helped him to I try to address the question. That's, you see, it's a lot. Can you throw more light on the meaning of afterthought in submitting document for an RFA? I think that was Barrister on this question. So I'll jump. Can an invitation to join an honor society be used in membership? Love, they used to accept it, but these days, like I said, the criteria is different. Like, they are not just, they don't want anyhow, like, it's not everybody again. Like, you actually have to merit it to actually get it, in all fairness. So yeah, if you are published alongside other team members on a state media group about the group research on an NSF funded project, can that be used for media publications since it doesn't involve only you? If your name was mentioned on the media, you can use it. And because, of course, it's an NSF project, it's a science project, I would assume it's a big one, and definitely it is not a one-man project. So yes, if your name was reflected on it, you can go for it. Do you think it's necessary to provide a recommendation letter from the organization? Hey, Esther, to claim Esther, this question, my sister, look, for EB1-A, your recommendation letter, let me just come here. So on the policy manual, as you can see, I'm scrolling here, they put other evidentiary considerations, like other things that they consider. Under EB2 NIW, your letters of recommendation actually carry more weight, like they are literally an integral part of the EB2 NIW application. Under EB1-A, your letters of support, your letters from experts, they must directly be addressing something in your application. You cannot get letter from Professor David, who was your undergrad supervisor and project supervisor, who wrote about how wonderful and kind and sweet and beautiful and diligent you are in your EB1-A application. It does not carry any weight. For EB1-A, if there is any part of the application that you must put a recommendation letter, it is under critical role. Your critical role is not complete, especially if it's a critical role for job done for an organization. Say, for instance, you worked for Wells Fargo. You were the one that helped Wells Fargo design a payment platform, whatever, and integrate a payment system and blah, 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 blah. Like, you did one integral solution for them, that kind of thing. If you are providing that kind of critical role for your EB1-A, you must get a letter from your supervisor or the head of that department, or maybe like a vice president or president of the organization, to show that in truth, you actually did that thing. And let the letter not be vague. Your critical role letters or your leadership role letters, let it not be vague. It must be like well bullet, like maybe put it in, like, you know, in sections. This is what you did. This is the quantifiable effect of it. You help the company raise, save the company $1 billion because you were helping them. Like, for instance, you work in, say, chemical waste management, and then you found a way to help reduce the amount of chemical emission that, you know, chemicals that get wasted in the laboratory every year. So your department got a funding from US Department of Energy, and with that funding, they gave them $1 million. So with that money now, that money, when your university got that funding, it does not only go into that your research. When your university gets an NSF funding, it also goes into other departments in the university. It's spread across. So you are not only being a blessing in that lab, solving that chemical waste product management, you are also providing money, you are bringing financial support into the university. So when you are getting a letter of recommendation, let the letter be clear, saying, so is what that critical role that you played, or that leading role that you played. This is the blessing it has brought to the department. This is the blessing it has brought to the organization. Let it be clear, okay? Don't just write don't just present vague letters. So I do have the flu, so my nose is blocked out. Thank you so much. I've not been talking after this, I guess, but I hope we have been able to address your questions as much as we can. My last part is this: please, whatever you do, except you want to go back, you have plans to return to your country, as you know what you told the officer, then you want to go back. If you know you want to stay here, this application is tough, it is difficult, yes it is, but spend money if you can, get help if you can. Whatever you do, do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Toyosi. I would like to just know if Barrister Akonde has any other thing to say. I know we're already running out of time. Okay, so I would just like to say thank you, again to our facilitators. Thank you so much to everyone who actually listened and who joined this talk. I would like to just mention that in case you would have to listen to like very important points noted by our facilitators, please do all to check the link sent to the group, so where you can always revisit these things. And if you need to reach out to maybe Barrister Temitope Akonde, please, that's our email. You can, feel free to reach out to her for consultation, or, Dr. Toyosi. She's the admin of any of, the EB1-A support groups. Please do all to reach out to her as well. And also, by God's grace, some of our upcoming meetings for people at Podio and the environs, would be November 1 Saturday and December 20th, Saturday likewise. And I would like us to just pray, have a short prayer, before we leave. And Father, we thank you even for the meeting of this afternoon. We pray that for as many of us who are, delving into this effort, Father, we ask that may you grant unto us success in the name of Jesus. We pray that may your favor even speak for us. May your mercy speak for us, even in quarters where we have no voice, in the name of Jesus. And we pray that all things that pertain to life and godliness, even through your divine power, you grant unto us. In Jesus' mighty name we've prayed. Amen. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you and see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. See you soon. I'll be ending the meeting now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.